So what do you think about the democratic dispensation of your clients as it relates to the November 6th election for Anambra State?
Well, you see, there are more important issues in Nigeria than elections. Elections can come and go, but those issues will remain. The issues are clear, that a lot of people who are Nigerians are no longer happy being Nigerians. It doesn't make them unpatriotic. It doesn't make them criminal. One of the ways citizens express their unhappiness with the system or with how their country is going is by engaging in agitations. And my clients happen to be engaged in agitation. And that agitation is informed by their right to self-determination, which is not a crime. I don't think criminalizing the demand of a people, of millions of people. You see, this is beyond the IPOB. The restiveness in this country is also rampant in the western part of the country. And parts of the north are also restive. I'm not talking about the terrorists in the north, but civil restiveness. So it indicates an overall unhappiness that is coming from vast majority of Nigerians with the way things are, with the way the system is structured. And that is something that does not deserve a bullet. It does not deserve prosecution, which is now turning to be a persecution. What it deserves is dialogue, civil engagement, constructive engagement. That's the only way you get to the position where everybody will be comfortable with an arrangement for a new Nigeria that would ensure equity and social justice for all. If somebody is saying, I want out, I don't want to be a Nigerian anymore, he's not committing any crime. And that is why you see this slew of nations around the world being very understanding of the matter and offering political asylum to members of IPOB. Number one is Britain. You see, if what IPOB is doing is illegal, is criminal, why would a major power like United Kingdom consider that IPOB members are entitled to asylum in UK? You see, the basic requirement for asylum all over the world is guided by this. Anybody that possesses a well-founded fear of persecution, simply because he possesses, he subscribes to a political opinion the government of the day is wishing to suppress by means of punishment of some sort, that qualifies you for protection, for refugee status, for asylum status. IPOB members have been found across the world as a people that possess a legitimate political opinion, which is self-determination, that the government of the day is wishing to suppress by means of punishment of some sort. That is what we are dealing here. It's bigger than any election. And anybody that is asking you for a referendum is conducting himself within the framework of the law. He's not asking for war. You shouldn't face him with war. Referendum is a civil demand, and it had produced very good results in the past. Within the Federation of Nigeria itself, it was a referendum that created the fourth region of Midwest. And outside of it, it was a referendum that they took western part of Cameroon from Nigeria and gave it to Cameroon, and took the former Sadana province of Cameroon and gave it to Nigeria, the present-day Adamawa and parts of Taraba states. So what we are talking about here is not a situation that requires the government to prioritize the levying of violence against the people that are not violent.
Okay, now election matters we talk about. My next question is say, your client Nnamdi Kanu, you know whether he don't give any order, say making members no vote for the upcoming election for Anambra State. You know whether he don't talk say no election will vote for the southeastern region.
I can tell you on good authority that what concerns Nnamdi Kanu at this point in time is this question. The question is that the prosecutor, the Federal Republic of Nigeria, has lost her jurisdiction her authority to try him in court because of the extraordinary rendition. This is what he's confronting right now. Nothing compares at all. That is the most important task at hand, that someone would be subjected to such flagrant violation of international law and the municipal laws of Kenya and Nigeria, and then you think you can subject that person to trial? No, you can't. This is what concerns my client Nnamdi Kanu at this point, and that's what we are dealing with.
So, what did they try to say? The Anambra State election no concern them at this time?
What I'm trying to say is that the matter of the moment that the Nigerian public should concern itself about is what happened to him. If it's not important, I don't see why a very strong, advanced, powerful nation like United States should be filing something in Nigeria requesting for extradition of Abba Kyari to the United States to answer to some criminal allegations. If that's not important, all they needed to have done is to come to Nigeria and rendition him by force. So this is a very important subject that I think Nigerian public should avert its minds to. And the second one I want to point to is the what I have seen as the reluctance of the British government to exact her diplomatic influence over this matter. Nnamdi Kanu is a dual citizen. At the very best, he's a dual citizen. As the very worst, he had publicly renounced his Nigerian citizenship. But let us assume, for purposes of this conversation, that he's a dual citizen of Nigeria and Britain. That does not justify Nigeria renditioning him in this way. Britain wouldn't have renditioned him as well. Britain has a public policy against extraordinary rendition that dates back to 1984, when Nigeria attempted to rendition Omar Diko. It didn't succeed, but it drew countervailing and strong diplomatic responses from Britain. Britain cut diplomatic relations with Nigeria for 2 years. They arrested 17 persons, convicted 4, who served between 6 to 8 years imprisonment in UK, and they were subsequently deported. And the Nigerian aircraft that was going to be the vessel for the rendition, was interdicted in Britain. So that sort of response is what we expect could have occurred in this situation of Nnamdi Kanu. Whether it's going to occur, I don't know. I don't know what they are doing, covertly or otherwise. But we haven't seen any strong actions by the British government towards the direction of protecting the rights of their citizen, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
The allegations still they say the sponsors of Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB, then some day Nigeria, some day abroad. How you go take react to this story where they fly up and down?
Well, talking about sponsors, I think all sponsors should be named. They should start by naming the sponsors of Boko Haram from even before the present government came to power. The sponsors of Boko Haram were well known to government. They said it themselves, even recently, that they know the sponsors of Boko Haram. Why are they not naming them? So let us have a situation where you name sponsors of everything. You don't just make a wide allegation of sponsors without naming names. Name names.
You get people where their business don't scatter, they don't lose money because of all the katakata where they happen for Southeast region and even Nigeria at large. Waiting your client Nnamdi Kanu gets to tell this Nigeria. You
see, what is going on here, which I don't want the media to be hoodwinked into playing a part, is this trial by ordeal. Nnamdi Kanu here, Nnamdi Kanu there. What about ISWAP, Islamic State in West African Peninsula, that now possesses a weapon that threatens civil aviation in this country? There have been media reports recently, credible media reports, that Nigerian security or Nigerian government had to pay certain humongous amount of money to retrieve a projectile or some kind of a missile possessed by the terrorists that could down any civil aircraft in this country, including that of the president. And we're here thinking Nnamdi Kanu is the problem of this country. Nnamdi Kanu is the solution to the problems of this country. I can tell you that on good authority. Anybody that listens to him very well and keeps an open mind will be seeing him spewing solutions, not problems. The problems of this country are bigger than what we are talking about. So making him the poster boy for all the problems of the country is the most unfortunate thing that has happened in recent times. It is trial by ordeal. If you want to solve the problem of this country, you start from the head. The fish rots from the head, and we know where the head of this country lies. Then when you get past that, you go to the real terrorists, Boko Haram, ISWAP, the militants, which the entire world have gathered together and declared the terrorists. How can Nigeria be isolated in her declaration of IPOB as a terrorist organization and no single nation in the world has fallen in line to do the same thing? It's a very, very topical question that should be put out there. People should think about it. Instead, countries all over the world are doing the opposite. They are saying IPOB is not a terrorist organization. That means Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. So this prioritization of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as the singular problem this nation is facing is one of the pointers to what is structurally wrong with this country, Nigeria, of the present era. It is wrong. It shouldn't happen.
So if you be Nnamdi Kanu, na no dey here, but we dey see you now as Nnamdi Kanu mouthpiece. Wetin you go tell Nigerians wey don suffer one loss or the other? How you go take comfort them?
Well, the comfort is given to Nigerians is very simple. Tell your government to listen to voice of reason. That's how he puts it. And that voice of reason is to conduct a referendum. That's what he's been saying all along. Nothing else. And that very position he has taken root, not only in Igbo land, in Southeast. It has supporters, millions of supporters across South. And it's also garnering supporters in middle Nigeria and even up in the north. Nnamdi Kanu is the voice of the downtrodden. Anybody, in fact, he represents, the voice of justice. So if you listen to him and, as a government and keep an open mind, what he is saying really is not something that should threaten the state. It's something that, in the end, will benefit everybody. So it's not something you levy a war of attrition against, whether it's a judicial or prosecutorial war or military war. It's something that you call him to the table and engage him constructively and ask him questions. How do we get to saying yes? He's not a lone voice in the wilderness. He represents the voice of millions of people that cuts across Nigeria.
Nnamdi Kanu dey for DSS hand in trial to go on, yet everything still dey go on as usual. Which people wey dey support Nnamdi Kanu for Nigeria, where dem dey?
It's very
business wey im dey do, wey be say even as im dey for DSS hand, things still dey go on.
It's a very good question. If by everything that is going on you mean the civil sit at home, the overwhelming success of the civil sit at home, if that's what you mean by everything that has been going on while he's being detained, that underscores that he's in charge. That underscores his popularity. That underscores his influence and reach. And that underscores the legitimacy